News 10 welcomes you to this special presentation where we look back on the memories and moments over the last 70 years of KLFY. Here are your hosts, Lydia Alcala and Trevor Saunier.
Hello, Acadiana. Thank you for joining us.
For 70 years, few Louisiana institutions have stood the test of time like KLFY News 10. We've not only been a news station, but a storyteller for those who call Acadiana home.
So we'd like to reflect on the time that you've welcomed us into your homes and share some of our stories.
And what better way than to start where it all began, June 3rd, 1955.
At precisely 6:45 p.m., KLFY-TV came into the world with a lusty sound, heard almost everywhere the signal reached. Local television had arrived, and in the Acadiana of 1955, that meant TV 10.
TV 10's formative years would be spent on Jefferson Street in Lafayette. It was in that first studio that KLFY would learn to navigate what it meant to be a TV station in the heart of Cajun and Creole country.
We were a bunch of greenhorns for sure. Nobody knew too much about it. I don't think I'd trade those experiences. Didn't make a lot of money. But name recognition came along pretty much. As
Acadiana became more acquainted with the faces of Channel 10, programs like Passepartout and Meet Your Neighbor showcased their rich heritage, including keeping our French-speaking community in mind.
Okay, has some good French music this morning, don't we?
Yes, ça c'est correct. C'est à peu près 22 minutes avant 6 heures à cette heure, 72 degrés.
Over the years, TV 10 would change ownership and evolve with the changing TV landscape. But our focus on being Acadiana's news leader remained. In 1977, KLFY broke ground on 1808 Erath Landry Road. We've been here ever since. Channel 10's family grew as the 70s rolled into the 80s and 90s. Names of Maria Placer, Dick Farrow, Gary Arnold, Blue Rolfus, and Darla Montgomery became friendly faces on Acadiana's TV screens. On occasion, a story would lead us on a journey outside of the Bayou State, whether it was following Acadians back to New Brunswick for a family reunion,
Sure enough, Jim. How you doing, Jim?
returning to our French roots,
In the world, the Eiffel Tower soars.
or following special reports in Haiti, Cuba, and China. TV 10 would be ever present when disasters struck, including in 2005, when Louisiana would be devastated by Hurricanes Katrina and Rita. But from the tragedies of those storms, KLFY would also be there celebrating Louisiana's triumphs.
Don't blink, you're not seeing things. It does say the New Orleans Saints are Super Bowl 44 champions.
In 2017, TV 10 would be acquired by the largest local television broadcasting company in the U.S., Nexstar Media Group. And in 2020, we debuted our latest studio while navigating the COVID-19 pandemic.
Well, you are part of history officially on this Tuesday morning, the 21st day of January.
A few short months ago, KLFY began its 70th year on the air with a harsh chill of a historic blizzard and the ending of a major chapter in our story.
There are happy tears.
Good.
It has been an amazing journey here, and I know that everyone who is listening, they understand what Acadiana is really all about, and so that's what this is about.
KLFY paved the way for television in Acadiana, and it's safe to say leadership extends to our broadcasts.
Hearing Hello Acadiana from names like Maria Placer, Jim Baronet, Blue Rolfus, Chuck Hubner, and even you and I, Trevor, means getting your news from people you grew to trust.
But what does the phrase Acadiana's local news leader really mean to those journalists? George Faust reports.
Being a local news leader is something that's been a part of KLFY since its beginning. KLFY is the oldest TV station in Acadiana since signing on June 3rd, 1955. In that day, KLFY not only set the standard for journalism in Acadiana, but also had a reputation across the Gulf South and the nation as one of the premier breeding grounds for young journalists to hone their skills. Perhaps none more visible than the one and only Maria Placer.
Now, here we see sites that were not there in 1955. They've grown up around us and become part of our lives. KLFY grew up, too. It became part of everyone's life in Acadiana. Just like Lafayette is the hub city of all of Acadiana, KLFY was the hub of everyone's lives.
And what made that possible was the dedication of professionals like Blue Rolfus, Dee Stanley, Jim Olivier, Jim Baronet, and countless more. KLFY began to hit a stride, becoming one of the most watched stations in Louisiana. In 1986, KLFY became the first station in Lafayette and one of the earliest in Louisiana to broadcast in stereo. The technology began to advance, and so did the skills of the up-and-coming journalists, like a young Chuck Huebner, whose 30-year career saw lots of changes.
People are not familiar with teleprompters, but the copy appears right there on the screen, all right? But back in the day, it wasn't electronic, it was paper. And so they would have to take these paper scripts that we would type, and they would rip off a copy, and they would actually tape them together and put it on a roller. And sometimes what would happen is the tape would get caught, and the copy would just like that on the screen.
Flutter. There was no room for flutter back then in the newsroom. Chuck says in 1984, his start year, you had to be on your game to get a story on the air.
It was always a very high-energy newsroom. It was always very challenging to get your stories on the air because obviously you had to do a better job of impressing the morning producer as far as what you had in terms of content than the other reporters.
The competitive nature of the newsroom hasn't changed. KLFY and the people who bring the stories to you strive to inform and serve. It continues to be a constant theme for the journalists who carry on the legacy of those who graced these studios for the previous 7 decades. George Faust, KLFY News 10.
Whether it was Passepartout in the morning, CBS daytime soaps, evening news, or weekend sports, there are many reasons you've watched KLFY for the past 70 years.
Taylor Trichet and Adam Olivier went out to ask a few of you why you tune into Channel 10.
Taylor Trichet here.
Adam Olivier here.
We hear that KLFY is turning 70 years old.
Has turned 70 years old.
I know, it's older than both of us.
Has already come and passed, and it's older than both of us. So many things happen in 70 years. So we figured, why not come and find out about some of those memories you may have of KLFY?
Let's go.
Happy 7th birthday. KLFY, happy birthday.
What I remember the most is a sad story, but usually when there's a hurricane, that's when we would watch it like actively.
Jim Olivier used to be on Passepartout in the morning. I used to watch him in the morning with my grandfather, and he used to play Cajun French music.
When Maria Placer did the Wednesday's Child, because that was, to me, that was just the heart of Louisiana.
We really grew up with Darla from the Hill.
Yeah. I love Darla Montgomery. I love all y'all, but Darla Montgomery is the one. I'm sorry.
At 52 years old, I remember at 12 noon, Meet Your Neighbor. Atari 2600 was out, and the game Frogger, Mom would let me play the Atari for you young kids, 30 minutes, between the Young and the Restless and As the World Turns. So Meet Your Neighbor was my time to play Atari 2600.
My favorite segment that I loved on KLFY was with Blue Rolfus and how she would do the adoptions for the pets and things like that. I was always excited about seeing what type of dog or cat she had to show for people to adopt, and being a puppy mom, a dog mom. I still love that.
7 years is truly a milestone, and it's one to celebrate.
Amazing to see the longevity, the amount of things that KLFY has created and helped spread across this community, and to see the people's reaction to it too, really just kind of warms your heart.
Yeah, to see the community continue to love what the station has put out year after year. It's why we do what we do. It's why we've been doing it for 70 years. So thank you at home for tuning in for 70 years, and we hope you tune in for 70 more.
Here in downtown Lafayette, the heart of Acadiana beats to the rhythm of its Cajun and Creole culture.
And since 1955, at our first studio on Jefferson Street, KLFY has showcased that culture from the food, the music, and the heritage.
So who better to share this next story than the man who does it for the culture today, Gerald Grunig.
70 years of KLFY News 10.
You're getting the food, you're getting the culture, you're getting the music, you're getting everything.
And I've been blessed enough to be a part of this station for over a decade alongside videographer John Weatherill.
That's going to do it for us. So until next time, along Marjay, Acadiana, no leftovers, just seasoning, baby.
In that time, I've learned the significance of our television station and how we've played a pivotal role.
When it came to music, Cajun music and Zydeco,
That's one of the few places you could get it.
In broadcasting, our unique culture to the region.
Every weekday morning, you could see Clifton Chenier, Buzu Chavis, Albus Roger, so many legends now, but they were performing on TV.
The history of KLFY News 10 is rich and deeply rooted in the fabric of Acadiana.
Channel 10, KLFY really brings our local traditions to light. It really promotes our local area, our Cajun culture, Cajun Creole culture. It really promotes our culture and our traditions, and it means a lot to us.
70 years later, we continue to keep the News 10 flame shining brightly by broadcasting our local musicians, restaurants, and cultural events.
It was like your opportunity to show what you could do. Because I remember people would say, man, that's Duke City, man. They play that check-a-check music, but that check-a-check music took you all over the world.
The local culture was on the same channel as Gunsmoke and the Ed Sullivan Show with Elvis Presley and James Brown and all these legends, and The Price is Right. Here is our local people, our local musicians, local French speakers on that same channel. That had a huge impact on people's thoughts about the culture.
There's no television station that compares to KLFY. And although others across the Bayou State may try, I firmly believe there will never be a television station like ours.
Y'all keep doing what you're doing. It works great. We enjoy watching the station, the news station, and yeah, just keep up the great work.
And as we celebrate this significant anniversary, we will continue to broadcast and showcase our culture that has made us who we are today.
It means a lot to me, man. It really does. And knowing that I'm from a place in Lafayette, Louisiana, homegrown, Acadiana loves you. No matter where you go, KLFY-TV.
In Acadiana, with a smile on my face because I have been blessed enough to do what I do for KLFY News 10, I'm Gerald Gregg.
During his time as Lafayette mayor, former news director Dud Lestraps oversaw the development of the Cajun Dome, a venue serving for many concerts, events, and even the first mega shelter for Hurricane Katrina refugees.
For decades, this arena has also been the epicenter of KLFY's Food for Families food drive. Renee Allen has more on how TV 10 has given back to the community.
Former longtime KLFY news anchor Blue Rolfes looks back on the impact her time at KLFY had on her professionally and personally. Blue spent nearly 40 years with the station. She mentions the Contact 10 segment, initiated by Ed Marshall and passed on to her. Most of the calls she got were related to neighborhood issues.
It's always been a program that Channel 10, KLFY, has stood by over the years, and I've always been really, really proud of that.
Blue was eventually given one of KLFY's newest segments back then, Adopt-A-Pet. Every Thursday, Blue was off to the animal shelter.
I still have people coming up to me and saying, oh, T-Bit, loves you because we adopted him from the shelter, and he's still excited about having the chance to be on your noon show on Meet Your Neighbor, and that was really where my heart was.
When the internet became big, the powers that be at the station suggested, what about Blue's pet page? That included reuniting pets with their owners.
I love it. I always feel like children and animals are similar in that they can't speak up for themselves, so they need us to speak up for them.
Another key figure of KLFY for 42 years is Gary Arnold. Gary remembers Maria Placer's Wednesday's Child, a segment where she would try to match families with children in foster care.
She did a wonderful job with that. She paired up so many families.
Gary also remembers the Jerry Lewis Labor Day telethon that raised money for muscular dystrophy.
Originally, we were assigned to just 4 hours to go up there, but once you did 4 hours, you wanted to stay the entire time because you felt that you were giving something back that someone else could not give back.
Plus, there's the KLFY report, familiar to many of us even today, the Food for Families food drive. Gary expresses how the food drive is a personal reminder to him that you never know who could use a helping hand.
I lost my father at a young age, and we were just a little happy family, and all of a sudden my father passes away. My mother had just quit her job. And so all of a sudden we had nothing. So I realize how quickly things can change. And I understand how you can also help people cope with that at the same time.
There are many moving parts to get the news into your homes. Since you already know the folks at Channel 10 who work in front of the camera, I'd like to introduce you to a few people who work behind the scenes. The people you see on Channel 10 every day are a very small part of what makes KLFY your local news leader. The hard workers behind the scenes are a crucial part of our success.
Next year will be 30 years.
2.5.
5 months.
No matter how long they've been part of the team, these individuals have helped us reach goals and set records. Gary Washington reflects on one of his proudest moments.
Promotion of the year. That was one of the coolest text messages I got from my boss. It was like, hey, we won promo of the year. Incredibly proud.
For long-standing KLFY employees, the industry has changed in many ways since they started working here, as Assistant Chief Engineer Brett Judice tells us.
When I started working here, everything was analog, and we were editing from tape to tape, you know, things like that. We were still using reel-to-reel machines. Our commercials were played out of this big, giant, oversized, refrigerator-looking VCR, which we had to, you know, load.
Through ups and downs, the curveballs and the long days, it's the good times that are most memorable.
All the old telethons we used to do. It used to be so much work, but it was so much fun, too. I've done 30 years of Food for Families. Just all the people that I've met, it's just kind of become a second family. You just never forget these people.
In my time here so far, my favorite memories was creating our News 10 Top 10. I got to follow 7 of our KLFY team members and ask them 10 questions. I thought that was really cool that I had little moments with them, learning things from their news journey, all the way to crazy things like their interest in maybe true crime or something as funny as a crawfish caucus in someone's AC. So it was just cool to see that personality, like I said, beyond the news, beyond that screen.
Brett, Liliana, and Gary are just a few of the important people who keep KLFY News 10 on the air. We couldn't do it without them.
How many cell phones do you see around now? People that take pictures. We're going to have video cameras. Instead of paying $60,000 for our field cameras, we're going to pay $15,000 for our field cameras, and we'll dial in the pictures. That's how things are going to be in the future. I may not be around for that, but the technology is there now to do it.
That was Mike Barra back in 2005 when he was asked, what's next? And he was right about the advent of smartphones becoming such a big part of our daily lives.
Over the last decade, social media, streaming services, and even podcasts have become integral ways of how we stay informed every day. So, 70 years later, what could be in store for KLFY and local news in the future?
Britt LaFossa went out to search for that answer.
We know that they've got one, they have it there, or they have to order one.
You don't see him on camera. He is usually behind the scenes. But he's seen news change dramatically over the decades.
For us, it's about a constant evolution.
When KLFY first began broadcasting in June of 1955, things were different.
70 years ago, there was no internet, there was no intranet, there was nothing. It was the only way that you reached people with information was the newspaper, the radio station, the TV station.
Things changed quickly. When KLFY Vice President Chris Cook started his career as a photographer at KLFY the summer of '96, social media was not a thing.
You know, MySpace and Facebook weren't something that existed yet. YouTube was several years away still. And so all of what social media has created was something we didn't even know about at the time.
In the last 2 decades, social media has exploded. It's transformed from a way to check in on your friends from high school into a legitimate way to find news.
And, you know, that's good because as a news source, social media can be very valuable, but as a news source, it's not vetted. You don't know what's real and what's not.
Especially when information can spread like wildfire, and in this age of AI.
Who's there to make sure that this is real? Who's there to make sure that what you're hearing and what you're being told is true? We are.
When KLFY first came into your homes 70 years ago, we didn't have smartphones, we didn't have a website. Apps were a thing of the future. Streaming services, non-existent. Things are different now, and things will continue to change.
There's never been a time where it's more important for us to be good at what we do and to earn the trust of the viewers and the people of Acadiana. And that's what we want to do every day.
Whatever the future may hold, one thing you can count on is KLFY being there to share the story.
Thank you for joining us on this trip down memory lane and for tuning in to Channel 10 through the past 70 years. I'm Trevor Sonia.
And I'm Lydia Alcala. Remember, as the old song goes, TV 10 loves you.
It's knowing that we care in Acadiana.